A warm welcome to all our viewers to our series Natural Medicine. And today it's really about nature. It's about the 8 treasures of nature, namely an 8 treasures recipe that we have also received through Chinese tradition over centuries. I got it summarized here in a book by Hölle, our doctor, the specialist. He wrote it because he learned all that too in China, in Germany, and has seen that with special tea blends you can achieve incredible medicinal effects. And that is exactly the goal of QS24, to be able to convey these natural treasures to you again, to make you curious and to show that there is an expanded perspective on problems, on indications, on discomfort. And today you can get ready for these 8 treasures. We'll get started right away. Stay tuned. Yeah, here we are again, and now I may also show you our guest because he's here, Dieter Hölle. Welcome, dear Dieter. Hello, Alexander. Hello. So, I'll start. 8 treasures. Let's recap. These are mixtures that have a medicinal effect. And that's why it can't just be bought freely. I can't go to a supermarket and say, give me the 8 treasures mix. No, that won't work, no. But I have to make sure that I have it in pharmaceutical quality. And these mixtures are made by selected pharmacists. Exactly. Good. And then I also have to have a clean quality, a purity quality, and an effectiveness. And if I didn't pay attention to that, then I wouldn't have anything. I don't know if it does anything, and that once again destroys the reputation of TCM, because a good recipe works. And if it doesn't work, it's a bad mix, or wrong basis. Exactly. Okay, good. So, how did you come up with these 8 treasures? Is that named like this in China? Well, it's called Zhen Tang. Ba means 8. Zhen Tang means precious, valuable treasure. You can translate it like this: 8 treasures. I'll read what's in your book. Symptoms. If one of our viewers sees themselves reflected right now, then maybe that would be their tea blend. So I read: tiredness, paleness, dizziness, palpitations. Anemia, anxiety, hair loss, brittle fingernails, dry skin, tendency to cramps, restlessness, but also listlessness. Then you still have the indication. Well, what is the difference between symptom and indication? Well, indication, it's called indication. Yeah, what is the difference to symptoms? Well, indication is the reason why you take something. What was the second again? Symptoms. Oh, symptoms, yeah. These are the symptoms that the patient can perceive. All right, okay. So indication would be the weakness, exhaustion condition after blood loss, after operations, accidents. Weakness after infections with poor convalescence, burnout. So the indication is the doctor's diagnosis. Well, that melts into each other. Sometimes the indication is also a symptom and the symptom is the indication. It's interesting that you just read it out like that. A patient called me yesterday. She had COVID-19 some weeks ago and can't recover anymore. We have that too. Many universities are opening practices at the moment to solve exactly this long problem. Well, she told me exactly what you just read out, exactly that. And of course I recommended this remedy. But you can get it without a prescription, so it's not a difficult remedy. Would that be for all people right now that are in such a long version right now? Possibly the drive to get out of this lack of energy, this weakness, this listlessness, but also being exhausted, but also the physical signs: brittle fingernails, brittle hair, dry skin. Well, you read it all. Those are exactly the symptoms she described, and the others do it too. They describe it to me too. But I've always heard that with long versions of infectious diseases, there's also a problem, a mitochondrial problem. Are they also supported by these tea blends? One would have to assume, yeah. This is the scientific research that discovered this. But what affects it now? has not yet been examined, of course. That might come, I hope. Well, that's the exciting thing. We don't necessarily know the causalities of these TCM mixtures, but it is an empirical medicine. He who heals is right. Exactly. I'm a medical doctor by experience. Very simple, that it works. I can't make statistics out of it, but I can see it's working. It always works, and then I believe in it. And I also give this belief with the medicine. You can't ignore that. And this mix in particular consists of two large groups. I'll go into more detail later, but I don't want to interrupt you now. No, please keep talking. Everything you say is so exciting. Well, the symptoms are very often there, and this remedy works there too. The more congruent the symptoms are related to what the patient suffers as a symptom, the more likely it is to have an effect. We even need the patient to find out. And here are two major drugs mixed together. 2 times 4, the first 4 strengthen the Qi. Indeed, there are 8 pieces. Well, the first 4 strengthen the Qi. They give us strength. That's also what it's called in Chinese medicine. It strengthens Qi. So this special power that you can't see, that you can only experience and feel, that flows through the body in the form of invisible energy, but is perceptible to each patient in different ways. For example, Qi is involved in making us feel warm. Qi is involved in our strength. Qi is involved in every movement. Without that, there is no movement. A form of our basic power. There are others, but this is an essential core force, and then there are such herbs in it as well-known ginseng. Ginseng is known as a restorative herb. Is that in here? Yeah, ginseng radix, yeah. Exactly, and often ginseng is exchanged for radix. Codonopsitis. This is a substitute herb. It has almost the same effect, it's just a lot cheaper. So you can exchange it for radix codonopsitis in larger quantities, and then add, very importantly, one plant called Atractylodes, which cannot be translated now, but it means only the big-headed one. I know that. It has a big head and a small one, and is the big-headed one called macrocephala, so big head. And you need that. In China, ginseng has a high status. There are little bottles that cost €300 and more. I've seen up to 1,000. Because it's so precious, because it gives power. But giving strength alone is not enough. You can get sick from it. I have to try to explain that now. It's not so easy because the power that comes in the form of herbs, it also has to be moved. If this remedy doesn't get the body moving, which gets the Qi moving, then there is stagnation. And stagnation causes illness. So, for example, you're more prone to stress, you're more prone to pain. So this Qi that comes into my body via this ginseng has to be moved. A German doctor, a doctor who dealt primarily with electroacupuncture, coined the sentence, "Pain is a cry for flowing energy." Say, pain is a cry for flowing Qi. One does everything to move the Qi. But if I only put Qi in, it's not yet moved, and I need the Atractylodes for that. And then I need something else to harmonise the whole thing, that is licorice glycyrrhiza, that harmonises the whole thing a bit. And because stagnation is often exacerbated by a lack of moisture in the body, or thickening moisture in the body, there's also a fungus, poria. Sure, it's a fungus that drains moisture. And that's why a mix is important. One remedy alone couldn't do anything remotely close to that. So the recipe as a whole is much, much, much more than each individual ingredient. It's increased, it's upgraded with it. It's an ancient recipe. Ancient, yeah. And it's still used in China today. Exactly. Is that also the Chinese answer for, well, on the whole, post and long version diseases? No, that was before, especially with these symptoms. There are also other clinical pictures. For example, when a woman has just given birth and has lost a lot of blood, if someone had chemotherapy, if someone lost a lot of blood through surgery, it works as well. When these symptoms are there, it just works no matter what the background. Whether it's now COVID-19, as soon as there are symptoms with weakness, with pallor, with disturbances in growth, skin or hair, and so on, then it works. And so it's easy to find out. I just have to match the symptoms with my symptoms. If I notice that I have all the symptoms, then it's my remedy. I'm totally with you there. I also say again and again that if I see indications in myself, then I'm responsible for myself and not someone external. And if I see through a guide like this little book with all these recipes, a mirror in which I reflect and I make such a tea mixture and then these indications are gone, then, well, that's awesome, isn't it? And yet the whole topic is laughed at again and again. Exactly, unfortunately. And that annoys me a bit. Why is it laughed at? Why aren't we freer, more open? Exactly. Are we so indoctrinated with academic medicine that it always has to be repair medicine or replacement medicine? These medicines are not necessarily scientific, but they are explainable based on the effect. So, when choosing such drugs, you depend very much on their direction, how they work, and according to taste. And taste can find direction again. And attempts are being made to apply this to medicine as a whole. So we simply have medicine that can be explained. The second part, the second four remedies, they are blood-forming. Radix, everything full of radix. Those are all roots. Angelica root is actually blood-building, Chinese Angelica root. The next is no remedy at all for us. The peony is included. Then Ligustici is in it. Then there is Radix Rehmanniae Preparatory. That's a form of a plant roasted with honey. This strengthens the body even more than just the pure plant. Everything's been figured out over thousands of years. It's exciting, and both together, the last four, they strengthen the blood. The first, the qi. And then there are components in Chinese medicine like yin and yang, and this formula primarily strengthens the yin in the last four and the yang in the first four. It comes back in unison, in harmony. Kind of feels like Asterix and Obelix to me. There's Miraculix mixing the magic potion at the pot. And that is a magic potion for patients with these symptoms. They notice that relatively quickly, as the strength returns. But you know, an important question. All these ingredients, they grow differently in China than in Europe. The compositions of a biochemical nature are completely different because of the local conditions and so on. Can I be sure that this drug works only if I have it from China? Or can I get these raw materials in Europe? Well, an attempt is already being made, and also books about where these herbs or herbal-like compounds were tried to be replaced with German, with European herbs. Always failed. It just doesn't work well. So you have to have the original. Well, they came about, they felt in this environment, in this Chinese environment. And there are also a lot of plants that we don't have. They can't be replaced. Professor Hans Rausch was here once and told me that especially here with these compactates, it's crucial that the raw material, I think raw drugs they say, really have the very best quality in China. And only then, through certifications, are only allowed to come to Germany. And then it's tested and certified again. It wasn't always like that. But now, to bring this image of TCM medicine back up, the quality has been increased immensely. So, not just a little. Some farmers in China used to grow drugs. The pure drugs were shipped to the local hospitals. And when they were old, they were exported to us, with very little effectiveness in part, and with contamination. I think of all the mould if it was stored in a humid place, but I think if it's just stored in a barn today, it's stored very professionally. It's grown fantastically, so not fertilised. It's purely cultivated and even monitored in China. The fields are monitored by cameras to ensure that nothing really happens. They're highly pure, have high quality, and become examined immediately, partially certified on site and then certified again by us. And we can assume that we will get a high quality product today. So again, the pharmacy that mixes these 8 treasures together, they mix it themselves. This doesn't come ready-made from China, but only in individual components. And based on the recipe, the pharmacist has to mix it together to make this product 8 treasures. Yeah, up to now it was like that, or then it was just herbs, either finely ground herbs or simply fresh herbs, the raw drug. The pharmacist had to weigh it and put it all together. My experience was pharmacies in China. That was the case with us in our pharmacies. They weigh the exact milligrams of the herbs. There is this accuracy because the differences are so small. And they have the pharmacy there. They've got lots of wooden drawers, and someone has such a hanging scale, such a market scale, and the classic model. Drawer out, herb in, drawer closed, and then within a minute the entire recipe is ready. Not exact at all. It's not about the quality, it's about the energy in the plant, what you need. The amount is not that important. Good, so we've listed the symptoms of these 8 treasures, and now it's simply the mirror of the viewers, who now feel addressed and say, well, that's exactly my mirror, that's exactly what I should do. Or I'm in a long COVID, post-COVID, or long post. There's also EBV and so on, diseases. Then that would be a tea blend that I could try. How long do I have to drink this? Well, that depends. Such a blood weakness disease, if we talk about that now, it takes longer and longer to be harmonised. Qi diseases are eliminated more quickly. Qi is easier, but blood disease, the blood just needs time to build up. I think we need a total of 4 to 6 weeks. Well, that's nothing, 4 to 6 weeks. I thought you'd come along with 4 to 6 years. Oh no, for God's sake, no. Now we look at the severity. If someone has had cancer, they have had chemotherapy successfully, it can really take half a year. Now I have to drink tea for 4 to 6 weeks and maybe all of the indications and symptoms are gone. That would be a blessing. Why shouldn't I do that? Drink tea once a day. Well, that's 2 or 3 times a day, or a lot spread over several days. But we now have these compactates, this new form of preparation, where the pharmacist no longer has to do the big work, and where it's much easier for the patient to take it. A few years ago I had to write down recipes. Everyone had to cook it themselves at home, and that in addition to work. I would be busy for an hour or 2 with this tea making, and then you should still take it and still do this and that, and so it was a difficult time. And now we have these compactates that make easy the taste. The consistency. In the beginning, because I knew nothing yet about the Shufeng Jiedu, I made a similar mixture with raw herbs that a pharmacist had ground. There are still small parts in it, and many just couldn't drink it. It was like that. It tickled, it scratched, and made people choke. Then I passed it through a filter paper so that it could at least be ingested. And that also worked, but it was cumbersome. Today, though, we have a drink, it becomes tea again through the preparation at home, and you can drink it partly like a tasty tea. I have 2 bottles of compactates, so I just took a tablespoon of the powder from each one. It's slightly grainy, so very light. It does vary, yeah, slightly grainy. Aren't all compactates the same with these little grains? I just put water over it and, well, then it was done. So it was immediately ready to drink, and it takes away the sometimes really bad taste. And it sometimes takes that bad consistency out of the homebrewed tea. It makes you want to take something like this. Well, you should actually test it with compactates and not do it yourself. and try to make these recipes yourself. The reasons are: A, the purity is guaranteed, the composition is guaranteed, it has good taste, it's reasonable in price, it only has advantages. I had been drinking the Shufeng Jidu for prevention of pre-existing conditions. Without pre-existing conditions, they say. I took that, and that was, well, it was absolutely delicious. I think they're delicious too. But of course, when I've cooked herbs, there's a smell all over the house. Some of it really doesn't taste good, and now it's easy to take it. Modern research has brought something good. I think I heard that behind this bottle, where there really is only a very small amount, an extract actually, there are kilos of raw materials that end up in this little extract. So the whole mode of action in this little bit. That's a great art. An essence. Essence, that's the word I needed. Yeah, it's an essence. A highly valuable essence, and it also works. It was really difficult to come to Germany with this knowledge and realising that a lot of things don't look the same as they do in China. Now we always have the same quality. There's no difference anymore. And now it works again. Well, some teas might not have worked. In China, yes. Here, no. And compacts do work, no matter where and how, always have the same quality. Well, there's no reason not to try it now. You can always do that. Well, then, so I'll summarise. On the one hand, there is this book about successful TCM medicine that actually represents a pharmacy of prescriptions where you can find symptoms or indications of diagnostics of a doctor you can look for in the mirror, ranging from good sleep, infections, rheumatism, back pain, menstrual problems, male problems, and so on. You can find quite a lot here. And then you can have it made at a pharmacy that works with the compactates. Can I find these anywhere? Well, the recipes are in the book. Yeah, and you can find them on my homepage. There are only the recipes. So you don't have to buy the book, you can look for the recipes on your website. Yeah. Okay, good. This is www.hölle-dieter.de. That's where you'll find them. And there's a website for Compasan. You can find out which pharmacy has which prescriptions, where I can order it. And here in Switzerland, there's a pharmacy, the Löwen Apothecary, Zurich. And in Germany, do you know one by heart? There's a train station pharmacy in Kempten. There are many more. I don't know all of them. In Lütkirch, there's one in Günzburg, but I don't know for sure. But they're all in this list. You can check the page, www.compasan.de. That's where you'll find it. Yesterday I met a pharmacist from Liechtenstein who said she needs it. She needs it. She absolutely has to do it. She'll surely reach out to you as well. I think it's important that we have a kind of naturopathic treasure here and show people, again, that there are ways where you're not burned as a witch, but these are recipes that have proven themselves. Yeah. Super. Now, of course, the compactates also increase the rate or desire to ingest that. So, some say, but this better taste and handling alone increases the willingness to take it. I just can't imagine it so well that a tea that I drink through the mouth goes down into the stomach and then spreads, ultimately has the effect of giving a person such a good night's sleep or opening a nose that's always stuffed up. But only with my old understanding. But the Chinese are always looking for a balance. But drink some coffee, 3 cups, what's happening to you? Yeah, you're fit, or awake, or shaky. Some get overexcited, jittery. Yeah, concentration becomes bad, performance becomes bad. For others, it's increased. And this is the task for us as doctors, to adapt the medicine so that it has an effect. Of course, the same medicine doesn't work for everyone. Then I have to change it. And there we have enough things from everyday life. What does coffee do to our temperature if we drink a lot of coffee? Feel inside yourself. That makes heat, makes hot. Alcohol makes hot. Those are effects. But I once learned that if you have a food and you eat it in high doses so that it has a medicinal effect, then it has to be approved as a medicine. Yeah, we have an old saying from a well-known doctor that our food should be medicine. Our medicine are supposed to be foods. Hippocrates, right? And I'm with you there, and I think that's the be-all and end-all. In general, for a healthy body and a healthy mind, there must also be a healthy diet behind it. I'll say something more about that at a later date, but remind me about it. You have to do it well, because food is very important in China. Yeah? If you come to me as a doctor in China, you would first see, the first step would be to change your diet, namely your diet oriented towards your health or disease state. And it's covered in great detail, and exactly. And that's where food becomes medicine. Of course. In Switzerland too, we still have exceptional doctors who actually start with nutrition first and the intestinal cleansing, for example. Lifestyle, these are all things to start with. Those are the starters, the starter therapy. Yeah, great. Well, thank you very much. Thank you, you too. Always fun with you. It's totally exciting to convey this fascination with TCM medicine in general, about tea blends, about tea compactates. To you, dear viewers, makes me totally happy, proud, and all the trimmings. I can only recommend that you take a look at a book like this one, or on his homepage where the recipes are available. They're free, and simply to see whether there are any indications in which you see yourself reflected best, and then at best really try such a tea compactate to get rid of symptoms and indications, balancing them. And if it works, yeah, then we've done it again. And that's the beauty of naturopathy and the beauty of my job to be able to explain such old knowledge to you again. An expanded perspective on academic medicine. In this sense, all the best. Good luck and see you next time.